Okay, so today I am going over surface area of prisms, and we're going to work through this together. As I tell you to pause and try to work through a problem, go ahead and so much time as you need to try to figure out a problem, and then you can, play the recording and then check your work and see how you're understanding. So we have rectangular prisms and triangular prisms, and the surface area of a prism is the sum of the areas of all the faces. A two-dimensional representation of that solid is called a net. So here we have our rectangular, and if you notice, the base is rectangular, where it gets its name, and on the triangular, the base is triangular, which hence where it gets its name. So let's go down here to activity 1, which is working with a partner, which we're going to do it together. Use the net for the rectangular prism to find the surface area. So we're going to work through it together. Our two bases again are here and here, and then we have our 4 faces. So this is our base in green, if you can see that. And then I'm just going to show you on the net where that corresponds. And then we have this lateral face on this side, and we have one here, and this is where these correspond on there. So I want you to notice that on our 3-dimensional figure, you can only see one side, one face at a time. But when you see the net, you can see that the base, there's 2 bases. This lateral side, there's 2 of those. And then the pink, there's 2 of those. So now we're going to find the area, the surface area. And I'm just going to have the area of the base, which is what B is. And if you look on your formula chart, the formula for the area of a rectangle is base times height. And then I'm going to name this 1. So this is our base. So we're going to name our base. And then we're going to call the pink 2 and the blue 1. So then we find the area of 1 and then the area of 2. And all these are rectangles, so our base first. And one of the things I see that my students are having trouble with is looking at a 3-dimensional figure and being able to figure out which numbers correspond with each side. So, like, let's look. 3 would be here and here, and so I'm gonna go ahead and write it up there. 5 is here, here, and there. And then 6 is here, here, and here. Okay? So let's correspond those over here. So we have 3, 5. I don't have room. This is 6, 5. Okay? So area of our base is 3 times 4. I always circle my areas that I'm going to have to add later, and I try to be organized so that when I come back and looking for what I'm adding, I don't have to search quite as hard. So area of 1, we're going to look. 1 is 5, and then this is 6. And then area of 2 is our little pink, and this is 6, and we can see over here this is 3. So now to find the area, we're going to add these 3 things up. I'm going to come over here. We get 63. Is that our total surface area? No, because all we did is just one of each of these sides. One of each, two of each side. So we have to take this number and multiply it by 2. So 126, oh, they don't give us units. I'm just going to do units squared is our total surface area for that rectangular prism. So you can either do one side and get the surface area and add that, all those three things together and then multiply by 2, or as you get each side, multiply those by 2 and then add that together. So this would be 15, this would be 60, and this would be 36. Either way is, makes more sense to you, is great. One, and now we have the surface area of a triangular prism. Now when you look at the triangular prism, we have 2 triangles that are identical in size, and then you're going to have 3 faces. And if you look over here, you can see, here's our base, and then we have face 1, face 2, and then the face in the back that we can't see because it's 3-dimensional. The bases will always have the same measurements, but as you can tell here, the faces do not. So you have to find the area of the face, of the base times 2, and then each face. So we're just going to write it right on here. I'm going to come up here and let's do the triangle first. If you look at your formula chart, the area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2, but we have that by 2, this 2 becomes 2 over 2, so that becomes 1. So the area of our triangle, I'm going to put base, is actually just base times height. So if you are finding 2 identical triangles, it's base times height. You don't have to divide by 2 because we're multiplying by 2. So whenever you have a triangle in the base, I want you to look at it and you have where it tells you it's a right triangle. Where it goes up is the height, and then this would be your base. So you want to look for the little right triangle, and that tells you where the base and the height is. So this is 3 times 4, and that equals 12. I'm going to circle that. That's my 2 bases. 3. 5 times 3, and 4 times 3. Here's our 3 over here. So now if we add all these 4 numbers up, we get the total surface area of this triangular prism. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 18, wait, 9, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18. So 48 units squared is our surface area of this triangular prism. Okay, let's move on to, so this kind of gives you a formula here. Formula that you can figure out. It shows you length, width, height, and on here, and so you can look at a pyramid and plug in your formula there. So it gives you example down here. Number 1, it goes step by step on how to use the formula and plug it in and find your surface area. So you can pause and work independently on, look through this example, and then work independently on 1 and 2. Okay? Okay, so you should be back and you should have tried example 1 and 2. Let's do. So this is going to be our height, and the 3 is our width, and the 2 down here is going to be our length. So if we plug in, look at your equation, 2 times length, which is 2, and width, this is 3, plus 2 times, looking back up at our equation, let's write it right here. Okay? And then we have length, 2, and height, 4. Oops, I'm going to have to times width, 3, and height, 4. So 3 times 2 is 6, times 2 is 12, 4 times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16, 3 times 4 is 12, times 2 is 24. Now let's add those together. So our surface area is 52 feet squared. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing on number 2. So we're going to name this length, width, height, do our equation, surface area, 2 times length times width, plus 2 times length times height, plus 2 times width times height. 5 times 8, plus 2 times 5 times 8, plus 2 times 8 times 5. 8 times 8, I'm sorry. 40 plus 2 times 40. Wait, this is 8 times 8. Plus 2 times 64. Okay. 80 plus 80, 160 plus 38, 138. Wait. I'm sorry, this is 128. So our surface area is 288. Okay, I'm going to stop now and I'm going to do a meter squared. And I'm going to do a second one that's going to include the rest of the examples and a few of the homework.